break unhealthy habits. Hi, I'm Dan Ross from the Silicon Valley Hypnosis Center, and one of the things I'm often helping people do is to break unhealthy or unwanted habits. And these could be more mental, emotional habits like procrastinating or putting things off, but it can be like health-related habits like overeating or smoking or nail biting or nose picking or things like that. And hypnosis is pretty well documented for helping people to make these kinds of habit changes. And what happens is there's some kind of pattern or process that gets stuck in a person's mind. It's kind of like in the old time days, I guess DJs still have records, but a record has a groove in it. And we get stuck in a groove and we can't on our own pick up the needle and move it to a different song. And that's kind of like what we do with hypnosis, is we find out what the driving pattern is underneath the behavior. There might be some beliefs that drive it. It might just be, again, a well-worn groove that we need to change. But we also find an alternative behavior. So for something like nail biting, for example, what else might somebody do with their hands rather than biting them, right? Rather than biting their nails. But it's not just as simple as, do this instead, because that's a conscious change, right? You consciously know you should do something different. You consciously know that you should be eating healthy portions of appropriate foods at the appropriate times of the day, rather than something like emotional eating, for example. So there's some pattern, there's some deeper need that gets met that's driving that, right? So for smoking, for example, it might be relaxation. It might be taking that break and getting away from things. And so we find those deeper needs, and that helps us to not only find a good alternative behavior, but to train your brain that in order to get that need met, you don't have to do the original behavior. You can do a new behavior instead. And this is why often people who have tried other things have not been able to change a habit despite their best efforts, because they haven't gotten to that deeper root cause. They haven't gotten to that deeper need. So, for example, if it's nail biting, maybe they've tried putting that nasty tasting stuff on their nails, but they still chew them anyway. Maybe they've tried some cognitive behavioral therapy. Maybe they've taken meds, whatever that is. If it hasn't worked, we haven't gotten to that root cause yet. And in hypnosis, we can work directly with your unconscious mind, which is the part that drives the behavior. Most people are not deciding, well, I think it's high time now that I go and overeat. They're not thinking that consciously. It's just like, oh man, I've had a hard day. I really deserve some cake right now or some ice cream. And it's almost like they've just gone into that automatic pattern. They've gotten into that groove. So we help kind of take the needle up, scratch up that groove in the record, put it on a different song and play that song instead. So we can find some healthy alternative behaviors for those things like smoking and nail biting and nose picking and whatever else that is, so that the change becomes as unconscious, the new behavior becomes as unconscious as the original behavior was. So for breaking unhealthy habits, there's the habit itself that people can consciously try to change, but then we work with the deeper driving patterns, the deeper driving forces that are keeping that pattern in place. It's sort of like the foundation for the house. We need to go and pull out the foundation, not just remove the house, or to use probably a better metaphor. If you pull a weed out and you just pull the top off, the roots are still there, it pops right back up. We have to go down and yank it hard enough and dig it out that we pull the roots out, and then we plant something new in its place, so that you can find yourself just as easily, just as automatically doing the new behavior as you did the old behavior. So if you want to learn more about how to change a limiting behavior, then go ahead and click below to learn more, and happy to discuss it with you and how I can help you.